Is it?
Oh, is it? Okay, it's
Yeah, I
going.
think it is.
Hey! She's just showing all of your teeth, all 32 of them. What up? It is the Birthday Chronicles Day 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is your host, Rodney Glasgow. Want to send some shout outs. Shout out to Alaska. Hey, girl. Hope everything is good.
So tragic. Watch the Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. Something very similar happened to Kenya Moore. Please watch.
Oh, Jesus.
No, it
What?
was very tragic. There was a funeral, everything.
Okay. So, oh, Jesus. So those of you that saw the Bougie Chronicles from our vacation last year in Jamaica will be familiar with what happens in these sorts of chronicling adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we went to dinner at Morton's. It is a tradition between Mr. Glasgow and myself. Um, and usually everything goes swimmingly. It is perfect. Service is
Mm-hmm.
great. The food is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. We have a great time. We leave intoxicated, and everyone is happy.
Usually.
That didn't happen today.
No.
Today was a ginormous cluster.
Right.
Um, and I don't. Hey, I don't even like. When did it start? When did it go? When did it all go so wrong?
Hmm. Let me pinpoint the moment. It may have happened between valeting the car and getting to our specific table.
Okay.
Because in that moment, there were a lot of things that sort of alluded to the fact that this was going to be a different sort of evening at Morton's.
One of the illusions, not illusion, illusion. It's restaurant week here in the Hartford, Connecticut, which means that uh, people are able to sample perhaps some food at places they would not normally sample.
Hashtag balling on a budget.
So there was a very sort of mixed crowd at Morton's when there usually is not. And actually, my birthday usually always falls during restaurant week, which in some
Yes.
instances can be very wonderful, but in this instance, he was not wonderful at all.
Yes. Not that we've ever used the restaurant week menu.
We have not ever. But we did get there, and
Yes.
this one dude apparently, I guess, maybe wasn't prepared for what Morton's actually was.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So he was sitting there. He looked real shook um, with the girl he was there with.
Yes. You
I
must
don't
do
think
the look around that
it
he
was.
was
He was
doing.
like,
Right. Translation: do you all have the same menu that I have? Does your table have this menu? Does your table have this menu? Anybody else have this menu? I need to know.
the
Is
answer
everybody
is
looking
yes.
at the same one I'm looking at?
We all have it.
We all have the
Same
same
menu.
menu.
So we're seated at our table, and our waiter, Arkia, which is like IKEA, but maybe with an R,
Right.
um, does all of the obligatory stuff, but only gives us one menu. Now, there's the regular Morton's menu. There's the
Which is the one
restaurant
we
week,
got.
which is the one we got. Then there's the restaurant week menu, which he didn't get us until later.
Right.
But then there was like another promotion that they were running where they had all of these wonderful, delicious, salivating pictures at the front of the establishment, but none of those items were on the menu.
Right. Right. Including the bone in filet,
Right.
which had a glorious picture as you come into the Mortons. So I'm looking for the bone and filet on the menu. And I'm like, I don't see this. I have to get you another menu. This is now the third menu that we've gotten, in addition to the drink menu,
Right.
in addition to the wine menu,
Right.
which was a total of 5 menus to wade through in order to determine what we were going to have. I personally was like, I'm just going to do one thing
Right.
at a time.
Right. That's all you can manage when you have 5 menus in front of you.
Right.
Hey. So, we looked over the menu and Rodney ordered his drink a 6 month age or 6 week age, whatever. There was a 6 and some age in his Manhattan.
Yes.
And I got some sort of fruity drink in a martini glass, and then we asked for a wine recommendation. Oh,
yes, that was the beginning of the awareness that we were sitting in the wrong section. Now, to his credit, we did request, per my sister's request, that we sit in Arkea's section.
Yeah, not again.
Not the move.
No.
Not the move.
Not if you're trying to have a sedity, uppity Negro dinner,
No,
which
no,
is
no.
what we were doing. Like, we
No.
recognize there are some times when we need to be a little bit more urban. We recognize that. But there are some times when we want to be a little bit more uppity and sedity. And this was one of those events. Tomorrow will be one of those events.
Yes.
But tonight was definitely one of those events.
It could have been. It could have been. It was neither urban nor urbane. It was neither one of those things.
It was a little ratchet, actually. So Rodney picked out a wine, a French red, a French Merlot.
Yes.
And asked for it. To which Arkea replied,
yes. The name of the wine was the Beaujolais.
Yes.
I said, now what can you tell us about the Beaujolais? I don't believe I've tried this before. What do you think? I know mainly about the Merlots and the Cabernets.
No, the Cabs and the Pinot Noirs.
Oh, yes, the Cabs and the Pinot Noirs. Now, notice that a Cab and a Pinot Noir is a category of wine, whereas the Beaujolais is a type of wine underneath the category of a French Burgundy and Rhone. Now, that right there let me know, as limited as my wine knowledge may be,
right,
he was more limited. To which he said he would go and ask Somalia about this and get back to us. As we scratched our heads on why a third world country all of a sudden got involved in our 5 menu shuffle to pick an excellent wine for this urbane experience, we quickly realized that by Somalia, he meant that he was going to consult the sommelier.
We ended up with a wine that was good, that if we had seen the bottle, we would have passed.
Yes.
Because it kind of looked like a 7-year-old could have designed the front.
Yes.
Whatever, it's fine. The wine was good.
It was good, but true to Arkea's wonderful demeanor, as he tried to discreetly show me how much the wine would cost, he was like, this is usually a wine by the glass, so it usually costs this much. But he put his finger on it, didn't say the price. And he said, so
I didn't even see that.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
So I'm assuming, basically the bottle's going to be this times 4. I'm like, okay. You might want to turn to the page in this extensive 20-page wine menu where this wine by the bottle is listed, as opposed to inviting me to do the math.
Right. Doing math will figure very prominently later on.
Where it's going to be this times 4.
This is just the drinks. We haven't even gotten to the food yet.
Right.
Once the wine situation is established and the cocktail situation is established, we finally get to look at the three menus. Um, and so usually I get some sort of fillet. That is just what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I prefer that cut of steak. But this year I said I wanted to try something different, and so I chose the Cajun ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. I also
Mm-hmm.
got the lobster bisque because I like a little seafood, like a little soup, seafood and soup together. I'm like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be great. Morton's never disappoints me. What did you get,
Mm-hmm.
Rodney?
I was trying something new as well, whereas I usually go with said ribeye. I was
My
encouraged
ribeye.
by my sister to go with the porterhouse. We
I
won't.
like a porterhouse.
It and certain people do.
I
But so we are trying new things. That's why they don't allow you. So, yes, trying new things. I'm going to
yes.
try the porterhouse.
Yes.
So, before that, we got a little bit of education on the various types of steaks from our waiter,
Mm-hmm.
who rightly so, I guessed, that the Chicago style ribeye would be a bigger cut of the ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
And that is exactly what it was.
Yes.
So he ran down all these other various things and suggested the porterhouse for me because it
Mm-hmm.
had the fillet and then the steak on the side, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of flavor, a little bit of a lean cut. I
Mm-hmm.
ordered that medium and Cajun.
Okay. This is very important.
Very important.
I
I
ordered mine, my ribeye, my Cajun ribeye, obviously. Hey, there are my feet. Obviously Cajun, and I ordered mine medium as well.
yes.
So the
Meanwhile, the bottle of wine has been sitting on the table for a good 20 minutes.
unopened.
Right.
And it's like clearly it's not the twist off type where you just have a top and you just turn it off and you pour the wine. So I was like, "Hey, garçon, maybe can we get some wine here? Maybe a little bit." And
Right.
he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll be right over and open that for you." Shouldn't
Right.
you have opened it when you brought it though?
Exactly.
Okay. Oh,
But
what's going on?
he said he was
Caesar, come here. Oh my god.
But yes, he was going to aerate the wine, which apparently means I'm going to pour it into this glass cordial.
And wait, so wait. So you poured it in Rodney's glass and swish it around like vigorously. You know when you're doing the whole like aerating and tasting and whatnot, you swirl it around a little bit. Holmes was like, shh. Okay, so hope you didn't spill it on the tablecloth.
Right, right. So now we've put in all of our food order
Yes.
and we are waiting. We finished our cocktail. We're now moving on to the wine that's
Yes.
now been opened after 20 minutes of sitting on the table.
Yes. Yes. The appetizers come.
Yes.
So, Rodney got the prosciutto wrapped mozzarella,
Yes. Best part of the meal.
clearly.
Cheapest part of the
I
meal.
got the lobster bisque. Again, I like lobster. I like soup. I like it together.
Yes.
But when my lobster bisque came, there was one small chunk of lobster in the middle of the bowl, and the rest was this sort of unflavored, creamy broth that was a little bit gross.
Right.
I'm like,
It was painful. Unlike my prosciutto wrapped mozzarella.
which was fucking delicious. Oh my
Right.
god.
Right.
It was delicious. They only gave you 3 pieces.
Right. So now that we've discovered that Aaron does not like this lobster bisque, I'm like, well, we just got to go on and send this on back. So we put it off to the side, 90% uneaten, which means I do not like this. He comes over, he's like, oh, what's the matter? Well, we do not like this. To which Aaron says, it just wasn't seasoned and there was only one piece of lobster.
Yeah.
To which he replied, what now?
He said, well, the lobster's really just a garnish.
In the
On the
lobster
lobster bisque?
bisque.
It's a garnish? It sounds like it was a main ingredient, actually.
Yes.
To which he then also adds, well, the lobster is ground up in the broth. That's false. There was no lobster in that broth.
Nor can you ground up something in a broth. That is physically impossible to ground up something into a broth.
I'm going to take this steak and I'm going to ground it into this beef broth.
Right. That would have been cream of lobster. It's not what we were eating, clearly. Nor have at all the restaurants I've eaten, big and small, have I ever seen lobster as a garnish.
Hello, parsley, yes.
I've seen parsley as a garnish.
Yes. But lobster, any sort of meat, I've not ever seen that as a garnish.
No. And not one of the most expensive forms of seafood. To just garnish. It's going to garnish this soup with a market priced seafood item. And while I'm at it, I'm going to name the soup after
right.
the
garnish.
And just for effect, I'll ground a little bit of this up in the broth.
Already. So by now we're maybe 2 glasses of wine and a cocktail in. And again, Rodney had a Manhattan. So there was lots of whiskey and bourbon and moonshine
and that's all there was.
That's all there was in
and
his
a big
drink.
ball of ice.
Like so.
Yes.
So, we're feeling a little extra. The liquor's kind of kicking in a little bit, but unlike the time we got
yes,
splitting a check 4 ways when it should have been. No, did we split it 3 ways and it should have been 4? See, I'm already messing up. I wouldn't have messed up at the table though. We had got one time way back in the day with somebody. There were 4 people eating, and we had a lot to drink. And so when the bill came, we were like, all right, clearly we is going to split this 4 ways. And the other people that we were with was like, well, no, we going to split it 3 ways because I'm going to pay for this other person. And we had not had enough experience drinking and eating with other people.
Right.
To really kind of do the math quickly in our heads. So we got for a couple of dollars back in the day, but it was a lesson learned.
Yes, more than a couple, as this went down at Ruth's Chris. So the 4 people who split it 3 ways because one of us was supposed to pay for his girlfriend. We were on the highway when I discovered, wait,
like,
1 second.
Literally, we were pulling out of the garage, and I'm like, Rodney, did that sound right to you? Because I felt like we kind of got jacked a little bit, but I was too drunk to tell. That shit has not happened again.
No, that was the early 20s.
Yes, now I am in the late 30s, and so that does not. No, I don't even remember what we were talking about when that came. Why I don't remember.
Well, because he tried to sell us the lobster garnished bisque.
So we gave the lobster bisque back. I did not order anything as a replacement because I was a little bit disappointed.
Right.
And like we said, the prosciutto wrapped mozzarella was good. So it was time for the steak. It was time for that.
Yes.
So
there was a significant amount of time between the lobster garnished bisque and the steaks.
Because apparently when you have 2 steaks cooked medium, that takes 25 minutes.
Yes. Apparently what took the longest was mine because it was cooked well done.
Well, no, wait. Don't give it all away. When it came out first, okay, so mine came out first. The ribeye came out first, the Cajun ribeye. It looked delicious. I was like, this looks fantastic.
Which it was.
It really was tasty. I will never get it again just because I prefer, like I said, the filet, the cut. I was trying something new. But this was very good. It was a very good steak. But the marbling was just a little bit too much for me, which was, fine, sort of negligible. Except for when I cut a little further into the steak, I'm like, this looks medium rare. Oh, hey, Rodney. Does this look a little medium rare to you? This center looks a little extra pink. He was like,
Yes.
yeah, it sure does.
Right. If by pink you mean red.
Right. That's exactly what I mean. So I really had a medium rare steak. It wasn't bleeding all over the plate like I would expect a medium rare steak to do, but it was still medium rare. It kind of looked like a tuna steak. Those are always basically rare. So I'm like, that's not really what I ordered, but it's delicious though. So I'm not gonna be extra.
Right.
But and so I'm looking at my steak. Rodney's steak has not. I don't think your steak had come yet. Or had it come and then we had to...
No. It hadn't come yet.
Okay.
For some reason there was
Nor
a delay.
had my fries.
Right. So we had Aaron's steak and the bacon, mac, and onion cheese. And so now my steak comes and I look at it, I'm like, this ain't right. I've not touched it. I've not tasted it. I'm like, this is not right. It must be sent back. And I was like, won't you go on and taste it? I already am going to tell you right now, this ain't Cajun, and this ain't cooked right. I don't need to taste this. But so that we're all clear, I will have a little piece of it. I tasted like, and as I said, this ain't right. So we call the waiter over.
Hey.
And he's like, something wrong? Yes.
Yeah. And also the hostess had come over.
Yes, because my face had clearly said, this ain't right. And it needs to get right in the next couple of minutes. Or else this whole place ain't gonna be right.
Code 10 at the Mortons.
You've got about 10 minutes to contain my disappointment before it trickles out. You don't want that.
Oh wait, that's what we were like. Please don't be fooled by the fact that we seem like friendly, awesome people. This is all a facade.
Every piece of it.
Everything that you see is fake. We will cut you.
Right. What I won't cut is the steak. Because it's not done properly. You, on the other hand, I will cut. This cheap ass steak, I will not. That lets you know that everything that you have gathered about me is a facade.
A facade. It's all fake.
So I said, I'm feeling like this is not Cajun rub the way I want it. Yeah. Nor have these truffle fries that we ordered come out in the 15 minutes between Aaron's steak and the bacon, onion, mac, and cheese and my steak. I've got to get those right away.
Maybe if you'd written them down.
Right.
You would have remembered.
Yes. And then he said, and because I know you want to have this Cajun rub like cooked into the steak, we're just going to have to rub it on there and put it back on the grill. Okay, that's fine.
Because I definitely am certain I ordered my steak medium.
Yes.
When you just rub something on it and then put the steak back on the grill.
Right.
Y'all culinary people know. That's not going to be a medium steak anymore.
Right. But I'm like, it is Morton's. They know steak better than I. I'm not going to question this at this point because he knows I've ordered this medium. In my mind, I'm like, you going to take this under-seasoned steak and put it back on the grill, and it's going to be an overcooked steak. I'm not going to cut into that either. And you're going to end up having to send that back.
Meanwhile, the people behind us had also sent their steak back.
Yes.
Also.
Right.
They were not pleased.
Exactly.
At all.
So now, 15 minutes later, which I'm like, this is guaranteed that my steak is overdone.
Mind you, I've eaten 70% of my steak. We've almost demolished the fries, the matchstick fries.
Which finally came.
And we have almost demolished the mac and cheese, the bacon, mac, and onion cheese.
Yes.
After we have eaten all of the sides and I've eaten most of my meal, and that's when his steak comes back out.
Now it does. It looks very well done. It's nice and hot. It's got the Cajun. I'm like, this is gonna be good. I can look at this and tell this could be good. Except when I cut into it, I'm like, this is clearly well done.
And not well done like this is done well. This is a good job.
No,
No.
no,
There is no pink at
no.
all.
Exactly. I do try to be a trooper. And try to eat this tough, overcooked steak. And I'm like, you know what? I'm at the point in my life where I can do this. I'm going to need to send this
Back. So this is send back number 2. Because
right.
what they should have done the first time is get a whole new steak and make that instead of taking his medium steak, which I believe was cooked medium the first time. It just didn't have the Cajun on it.
Mm-hmm.
And putting that on the grill for another 15 minutes to make us believe that that is a medium steak.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
What's happening?
So now the hostess and the waiter come back again.
Yes.
Like, is there yes, there's a problem in
Again.
that now this is it overcooked? Yes.
You think?
And the fact that I didn't have to finish that sentence lets me know that you knew this was overcooked when you brought it to the table. Once again, when I send this back, we're just gonna make you a fresh steak. That's probably what you should do.
Thanks. Should have did that
That's
20
what
minutes
you should
ago,
do. 'Cause
people.
this steak is not gonna become a medium steak.
No.
No matter what you might do in the kitchen at this point.
You cannot make the steak less cooked. I don't care what you do.
Exactly. So now it's another 15 minutes while they get that on prepared. They do bring it back. It is nice and hot. It is well done. It is well Cajuned.
Well Cajuned.
It is medium.
Yes, it is.
It is good.
And it's not medium rare like mine is.
Right.
It's medium.
So this was done wonderfully.
Third time.
Right.
Third time. I'm sure there was some spit on it.
I'm
at
certain.
this point.
I'm certain.
But
He would not have spit on it.
No.
That would have taken more time than he was willing to invest in any of these products that he's brought to the table.
And we really were like, hey, what's going on? Like, we're here every year. You know, took my mom there for Mother's Day. Everything was great. Like, service is usually fine and the food is usually great. Like, what's happening? To which Arkia replies, well, we got caught off guard by a couple of large parties. But it's restaurant week.
Yes.
So you know that there are going to be a lot of people you might not normally see. So wouldn't you maybe prepare for that? And even if there are large parties, does that mean you forget how to cook a steak?
Because we were in no rush.
None.
You could have just let ours be done when it was supposed to be done.
Yes.
Nor do I believe that in a restaurant of your capacity, that when you reach capacity, you should be surprised. Hopefully you've planned for that many people to be in your establishment, because that's how many seats you have in the establishment.
I mean, maybe there's something that we're missing about hospitality and planning. It may be like Will or my favorite caterer in the world, Jackie. Maybe they can explain how a place like Morton's would be caught off guard by large parties during restaurant week and thus forget what medium means.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are now wrapping up this epic meal and pleasantly awaiting the bill.
Waiting for a long time.
So yes, he comes and make it very clear all these remainders need to be wrapped up separately. I do not want everything in one box. Everything needs to be wrapped up separately. He brings it back. He's like, here it is, all compartmentalized. I'm like, it better not be. In one Tupperware compartmentalized.
Right. Like a family reunion.
Right.
We got the meat on this side and then the sides in the other little sections.
Right.
Don't want that.
Luckily, he did wrap them separately.
Praise God.
He did not mean compartmentalized. I'm going to let him slide on the use of that word.
Well, you know, maybe when we talk to the Somalia about the wine choices, they would have explained what that meant.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so the check came.
Finally. We waited a
Finally.
long time between the compartmentalized leftovers being brought to the table and the check being brought. And he's very apologetic after this about good 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I took a few things off the bill and comped a few things because it just, wasn't a good night and it impacted y'all, and I'm very, very sorry. I'm like, "Oh, wonderful, not your faults. If there are things going on in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't have to worry about that. But we appreciate whatever you've done." Now he is standing directly over me. This is the second time
What
today
up?
that a waiter has been in my personal space.
Right.
I don't know quite what it is. I had brunch today. The waiter read the dessert menu from directly over my shoulder.
Hey, you got some bikini busters, an M&M Rice Krispie treat.
Right.
Like so.
Literally with his chin resting on my shoulder.
What's up?
Unannounced.
Okay. I'm gonna sneak up behind you because this
Right.
is fun.
As I was looking the other way. So, no, I was not prepared for any of that. All of a sudden, I felt body against my body at
My
the
body
restaurants.
all over your body. Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Now will we play this again? This man has handed me the bill. We reviewed it. I'm looking at it. I've thanked him. He's been MIA most of the meal.
Right.
Yet this time, he has refused to leave
Does not
the
move.
table.
Does not move.
Like, I'm not quite sure what more we need to discuss.
And just leaned over like,
So yes.
see how I took that off?
Right.
See how I did that?
Right.
I took
I'm
that
like,
off.
I see all of this.
Because you didn't like that, so I took that off. They actually had a line item on the bill that said did not like.
Did not like. And the other one said VIP.
Well, I mean, shit. We are VIPs up in this bitch.
Right.
But it still was a little random.
Yes.
It's not like I have a Morton's card where I'm like, let me swipe this and get my VIP points. It's not like it's Ginza or so I'm getting some sushi.
Right. So now I'm like, this man continues to stand over me as I'm trying to configure this here bill, but I'm like, it better be right, because at this point, nothing has been right. So I'm scrutinizing the bill. He's standing over me. I'm like, let me pull out this gold Amex and just stuff this in here. It's clearly he's not leaving until there's payment of this bill.
Like, immediately. It was a mess. He was, like, legit. So I took these
Right.
things off.
Exactly.
Like here, right here.
Right.
Zip them off.
Like, we can't dine and ditch as we valet park our car at your establishment.
Right.
So, yes.
Oh my
We
god.
paid the bill. I did come home and recalculate.
He did. I literally was coming down, literally, down the steps like, what is all these lights on? What is Ronnie? And Ronnie got his calculator on his phone, got the bill out, like, I'm like, okay, this look right. Because we sure would have got back in the car,
Right.
drove all the way back to Morton's like, excuse me, bitch.
Exactly.
This looks off.
Exactly.
Because that's what we do. Because everything that you've seen is a facade.
Yes.
It's all fake.
Yes. We did learn that the waiter believes in the law of attraction.
Yes.
And that what you put out there, you get back. And that's what came back in his tip. So glad we can confirm his airtight philosophy on life.
That he so profoundly and inarticulately expressed.
Yes, both of those.
So that was day one of the birthday chronicles.
Yes.
We have tomorrow, and then you leave Sunday morning.
Yes.
So we'll have some sort of recap or something. Anything else to add, Mr. Glasgow?
I think that might be all of the happenings. Well, no, it did start at the airport, actually.
Oh!
As I came
yes!
through to the baggage area, I'm giving Aaron a hug, and we hear this, hello, hey, hello, hello. We, of course, do not believe it belongs to us, as the only people we know in this airport is each other. We turn around, and someone from TSA is frantic that we must speak
Right.
to her.
So, yes. Now, mind you, I have on sunglasses, and so, like, already my vision is obscured. So, all I'm really focusing on is Rodney, and hey, Rodney's here. That's awesome. Let's get to the car so we can get to Harvest. And so we, hug, and then literally we just walk towards the escalators. And this person is screaming at the top of their lungs. And I'm like, nobody screams in an airport because TSA will get on that ass.
Unless you are
Unless you are a TSA agent. I still don't know who it was. So if you're on my friends list, I don't know who you are.
Yes.
Please identify yourself so I can be like, hey, what up, girl? Because I have no idea who you were.
But we did politely wave.
Hey, girl. Hey, it's
As
good
it
to see
is
you.
the TSA.
And Rodney's like, you know her? I have no idea who that is. So if anybody knows, just tell me.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So that has been day one.
Day one. The rest.
That will do it.
Okay. How about people? We'll be back tomorrow. Deuces. Okay, bye.